All right, welcome back. So we've spent a lot of time digging into the mechanics of toxic attachment and codependency. Now we're going to flip the script. We're shifting our focus from the problem to the solution.
And that brings us to this huge question, right? If we're all wired to depend on each other, but codependency can be so incredibly damaging, then what's the alternative? What does a healthy, thriving connection actually look like in the real world?
Okay, let's dive right in. The answer, and really the core idea of this whole explainer, is a concept called interdependence. This is the healthy path forward, the model for connections that really work.
So what is it exactly? Well, interdependence is the ability to get your needs met through a mutual reliance and connection. But here's the key part. It's between many different people and relationships, not just one. The two magic words here are mutual and many. You're building a whole support network, not just a single fragile lifeline to one person.
This quote just nails the fundamental shift in thinking. See, a codependent relationship is built on this idea that two people need each other to feel whole. But an independent relationship, that's built on two already whole individuals who choose to connect with each other. It's based on desire, not desperation. And that distinction, it changes everything.
And this difference, it's not just about how you act. It starts way deeper, right down in your core beliefs. So let's really compare the mindsets that create the foundation for these two very different ways of connecting with people.
And wow, this table just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got codependence, which is totally driven by fear and this feeling of limitation, like you only have one source to meet your needs. But then you look to the other side, interdependence, and it's all rooted in freedom, choice, and expansion. It starts with your own personal independence and recognizes there's a whole world of support out there.
Okay, so we've got these internal mindsets, fear versus freedom. But how does that stuff actually show up in the real world? How does it change the way we act in our day-to-day interactions and relationships?
Let's start with the basics of how we lean on each other. In that codependent dynamic, partners are often looking to each other as their only source of emotional validation. But in an interdependent relationship, each person is actively growing their own sources of support. They get a really crucial truth. You are ultimately responsible for your own emotional stability. And this idea flows directly into boundaries and communication. Codependency often means blurred, messy boundaries, and maybe even a little bit of manipulation to get your needs met. Interdependence, on the other hand, absolutely requires respected boundaries and open, honest talk. It's all about being direct, not trying to control things.
All right, enough theory. What does this actually sound like in a real conversation? How does it look in our everyday decisions? Let's make this super tangible with some practical, side-by-side examples.
Just listen to the language here. It says so much. When there's a disagreement, the codependent response is to avoid the conflict no matter what. You know what? I'll just agree with you. But the interdependent response honors both people. Okay, let's talk about our different views. One is about sacrificing yourself, the other is about creating a solution together.
And hey, these same principles apply directly to tangible things too, like money or where you live. In resource codependency, one person might be completely reliant on someone else for their finances or housing. But in resource interdependence, you've got your own stability. You might choose to share resources, sure, but your core survival doesn't depend on that one single person.
So, if you remember just one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. The whole foundation of a healthy, interdependent connection comes down to this simple but incredibly profound idea. It is all about two complete people choosing to share their lives, not two incomplete people trying to fix each other. And that leads us to our final thought for you to take with you. As you think about your own connections, ask yourself this powerful question. Is the foundation built on fear? You know, fear of loss, fear of conflict, fear of being alone? Or is it built on a foundation of freedom? The freedom to be yourself, the freedom to choose, and the freedom to connect authentically.